Please be seated. So I have an invitation for you. I think it's different than your typical holiday party invitation. I hope that it is. But before I get to it, I want to tell you a little bit about where this invitation comes from. We approach Christmas this year in a world torn by war, unsettled by an evolving climate crisis, divided and polarized by principalities and powers who spew misinformation and revel in the fear and the discord that it causes. And so our annual arrival in Bethlehem this year is less the cozy pastoral image of mother and child held in a soft glow of some ethereal off-camera light. With many of the actual horrific images that are coming to us from the Holy Land this year, the Nativity this year seems much more like William Butler Yeats's Second Coming, with some rough beast slouching its way towards Bethlehem. Now, of course, Jesus was born at a time of great violence and upheaval, and one of the main takeaways of the Christmas message is that God doesn't wait for everything to be just right before God enters into history and carries out God's holy and redemptive work. But still, I think this year we are all finding it very easy to express deep and heartfelt prayers for peace, and much harder to find authentic expressions of joy. Is that too bleak for a Christmas Eve sermon? Maybe. I'm more of an in the bleak midwinter guy than a joy to the world guy anyway, so there you go. I've also learned recently that the distinction between optimism and pessimism is actually a false choice and a misleading one in some significant ways. So, let's say that this mug holds 10 ounces of liquid, and it now has 5 ounces in it. So you know the question, right? Is it half full or half empty? I've learned that this is a nonsense question. It's nonsense because the answer, whatever the answer is, has zero effect on the actual world we live in. What is sensical, and what is actually much more powerful and necessary, is simply noticing that there is water in the cup. And then the only real question is, who needs that water? See, we actually need fewer labels. I'm an optimist. I'm a pessimist. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I'm a thinker. I'm a doer. I'm a liberal. I'm a conservative. I'm a Mac. I'm a PC. We need less of that. And we need more people who can simply see and name truthfully what is really here and who is with us. And then ask, what is the work that needs doing now? Now, there's a follow-up question as well, which is equally important, and that is, am I the person to contribute to this work? So what is the work that needs doing, and am I the person to do it? Do I have the resources, the skills, the life situations, the friends and allies that give me the capacity to serve in this way and at this time? The last thing I need to do before I get to the invitation is remind you of the quote from Meister Eckhart that I shared last week. Now, I'll quote it again in case you weren't here or you don't remember it. So way back in the 13th century, Meister Eckhart said, We are all meant to be mothers of God. What good is it to me, he said, if this eternal birth of the divine Son takes place unceasingly, but does not take place within myself? And what good is it to me if Mary is full of grace, if I am not also full of grace? What good is it to me for the Creator to give birth to the Son if I do not also give birth to him in my time and in my culture? The fullness of time, he concluded, is when the Son of Man is begotten in us. So here's the invitation. It has 3 parts. 1, in the coming 12 days of Christmas, or after the flurry of all the preparations, and before the tumult of whatever it is that the new year has in store, I invite you to make some space, to devote some time, to ask, and then to listen for the answer to the question, what is it that is waiting to be born in you? What do you uniquely have to offer? And how could it be put into service for others? And then second, as you are out and about in the world, try to develop the practice of just simply stopping every now and then and breathing and looking around and asking what is needed right here, right now. Where is there water? And who needs it? And maybe you'll have to be a little bit patient and wait for the answer, but that's okay. And once you have a sense of what is truly needed, once you see the water and recognize who or what it is that needs it, then ask, am I the right person to contribute to this need? Do I have the resources, the life situation, the community that gives me the capacity to meet this need at this time? And if you do, fabulous, act. And if you don't, that's okay too. There is no shame in being clear about what your capacities are. Sometimes there really is no room at the inn. And 3, if you don't already have one, please find a community where you feel both safe and brave, one that will support you as you grow, one that will challenge you to keep learning, one that will help you practice developing eyes to see and ears to hear what is real and true. That's a cup, and it has water in it, and it's needed over there. In other words, find a community that practices what it preaches. Might even be a church. Might even be this church. We do strive to be a community of practice, a community of both individual and communal transformation, and you are all certainly invited to come back regularly. So that's my invitation, and that is my prayer this Christmas, that we will each of us hear the call to be transformed for the sake of the world, that we will say yes to the divine being born anew in us. That we will all be given eyes to see every cup, no matter how full, as overflowing with the water of love. And that we will have the clarity and the grace and the courage to carry that cup where it is needed most. Amen.